Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche pregame show presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts every single day. Rudo and Jesse coming at you as the Avs take on the Kraken. Pavel Francouz in net for the Avs. Also, Nazem Kadri.
Yep.
Gonna play.
Looks like he's going.
So, should be fun from that. Seeing Kadri get back in, see how they go with it. They've been pretty much freewheeling their forwards all over the place the last couple of games.
No rules,
so
yeah.
I'm sure we'll see some more rotating, to say the least.
I'd like Burakovsky, McKinnon, Rantanen, Nichushkin, Kadri, Lehkonen. I just think that'd be kind of fun.
I mean, that line is so mean to play against.
Right. Yeah.
Do not envy the other team having to go up against that.
No kidding.
Yeah, and you kind of work it down. You can.
Mikko Rantanen out tonight,
Oh,
non-COVID related illness.
I want a day off, coach.
Yeah.
The illness he might be suffering from there.
Yeah. Wow, that was a great time text.
Yeah, perfectly. Good thing it didn't come 20 minutes later.
Right. So yeah, no 96, but 91's back in.
So I think you'll definitely see Berkey on the top line at that point then.
Yeah.
And who knows how they'll shake out the rest of it. I imagine it'll be McKinnon, Berkey, and probably Nuke. So you're left with Kadri, Lehkonen, and maybe New Hook on the other side.
Yeah,
we'll see. They could always throw Comfer up there, whatever. But
right. Yeah, it's kind of your Swiss Army knife.
yeah, should be. Again, I have zero expectations of anything consistent tonight. I expect Bednar to be like, let's just rotate everyone with Kadri and see
I'm
what
telling
works.
you, just go drop in rules.
Yeah,
come in the door on the right and just slide down the bench till you're the next one out the door on the left. I mean, like, Seattle has less than nothing to play for.
Yep.
They're pretty solidly in the good odds for the lottery.
Yep.
They traded a bunch of guys. So really, a lot of other guys are on expiring deals. They are literally just playing out the string here. They're not going to sink far enough. Arizona's not going to catch them. Montreal's probably not going to catch them. They're probably actively trying not to win at this point. Roll whatever lines you want, and who gives a shit what happens.
I guess how mad is Phillip Grubauer and Jonas Donskoy that they don't play for the Avs?
Dude,
is the only thing you're worried about?
No kidding.
From Seattle's side?
Yeah.
But
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it really. I don't think the Avs are too worried here or there.
This is just a get out of it healthy game.
Absolutely. Nobody get hurt. Everyone do what you got to do. Then you go on to Edmonton after that. So, yeah. Avs.
That's about it for the game.
Yeah. 100%. Obviously, there's bigger picture stuff with the Avs. You want to see them start getting healthier, yada, 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 yada. We'll get into some of that in a little bit. First, Jesse, you and I had a decent conversation on Twitter today with a lot of people.
Yes.
Talking about how particularly the national media looks at mostly the Colorado Avalanche, and to a further extent the Florida Panthers this year too. And it's an interesting conversation because, look, there are no social media outlets or national media outlets are out there going, oh, the Avs are bad.
Right.
But they're all very... Yeah, they're good.
Right.
Yeah, they're at the top of the standings. Yeah, this, that, the other thing.
Yep.
I just don't think they're interesting, and I'm moving on.
Right. Well, and so that was part of what I was talking about today on Twitter that I thought was so funny, and I was glad that you picked up on it. Was nobody in the national media saying the Avs aren't good? There was a few people that thought I was saying that I was saying people are saying they aren't good. Everybody pretty much agrees this is a very good team with very good players. But it is funny. Even taking the Wyshynski bland comments out, you can say they were out of context, whatever. I've heard so many people on TNT, on ESPN's broadcast. I listen to the Jeff Merrick show every day, and he has different guests on. If you don't count Wyshynski, in the last 2 weeks, Jeff Merrick has had 3 guests on that have all said similar things about the Avs. Yeah, they're really good. They got really good players, but we'll see what happens. They can't get out of the second round. And, we'll kind of see. I think this team could knock them off. I think that team could knock them off. I think a couple things are going on here. One, everybody wants to be the one that said the Avs were going to get knocked out and call who did it. So you throw these kind of wild projections out there, and if it hits, you get to say, I said the Blues were going to beat them back in March. And then if it doesn't happen, it's like, oh, well, yeah, of course they lost to the Avs. The Avs are really good. I always said that. And two, I just think that there are a lot of people who can't get past the second round exits. And there was that quote that was bouncing around this morning, which then led me to like start on this think track. And then I was listening to Sportsnet, same type of stuff. But, just people saying like, well, yeah, I mean, they're good, but we'll see. I don't know. Don't really trust Kemper. Don't really trust this. They can only play one way. It's like, that's where you have to understand, like, it's national media. A lot of those people are East Coast. They don't stay up and watch West Coast games. I just think it's so interesting because we see this team up close every single day.
Yep.
And it's like, whoa, that's not true at all. They've beaten all kinds of teams in all kinds of ways this year. And you brought up that there seems to be both, not disrespect, but the way people are talking about the Avs and the Panthers. They're like, oh, yes, they're very good, but who's going to be the one to knock them off? It's just very interesting. They seem to be being brushed off despite where they're at in the standings.
And part of this is coming from a place where we talk about it all the time. Denver's not on the coast.
Right.
In the U.S., despite Denver being as big as it is not considered a major market for sports.
Yeah.
And I go back to the middle of this year. The Avs are in mid-December.
Yep.
Playing on national television, and you go to the intermissions, and the intermissions are talking about, well, how do the Avs compare to the Rangers?
Right.
And they're playing like St. Louis.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
What is going on? And when I watch other teams' feeds, the Avs don't get talked about at other teams' intermissions.
Not in the same way.
Yeah. No. It feels like teams like the Rangers, teams like the Leafs, just get rammed down your throat constantly, especially when they're good.
Trying to find any reason to explain why they will be, win the division, win the game, have the MVP, have the whatever. And like you sit here and again, the award stuff really doesn't bother me as much as it maybe leads on with the way that we talk about it.
Sure.
But again, like, you sit there and Austin Matthews has had a phenomenal season.
Absolutely.
No doubt. I'm not saying he doesn't
MVP
deserve
caliber.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to win the MVP, but like the way that people like campaign for it.
Yep.
And then you look at Cale Makar and it's like, well, Toews and yeah, it's good, but maybe Yossi, maybe, and it's just interesting. And again, so let's and I don't even remember who the guest was that he had on today. But they were talking about Colorado or Calgary. Who would you rather play? And they both said Colorado.
Yep.
I'd rather play Calgary. And one of the reasons was his guest, Jeff Merrick's guest, goes, well, like Kemper's, he goes, he's been better, I guess. But like I look at Markstrom and he's been doing it all season. And it's like, starting on December 8th, Darcy Kemper is the best goalie in the league. Not
NHL,
even Igor Shesterkin has been as good. So you are discrediting that because of 5.5 weeks of average to slightly below average play. Like, find me a goalie in the league who doesn't have 5 weeks like aggregate of poor play.
Yep.
And it's just so funny the way that people look at it, and especially for a sport that so much is predicated on move on, forget it and move on, burn the tape, on to the next one, can't dwell on the past, have to be moving forward. The only thing that matters is what you do next. People talk about goalies being voodoo. Hockey there is no predicting it. There is no, teams, individual players have up and down years. The only thing that matters is what you do next. Yet, for some reason, if this isn't exclusive to the Avs, we've like completely abandoned that thought process when it comes to play. Oh, well, they've lost in the second round, so they probably
Nothing
won't get out of the
matters.
second round. Yeah, it's like, all right, so yeah, I guess we completely abandoned that. Burn it, put it in the trash, move on. Just look forward when it comes to stuff like that, and it's just really interesting given the season they've had, the way the Avs have had, the way that they've played, the types of performances they're getting out of individuals. Then you factor in the fact that they actually have had, I would say, above league average injury problems this year.
Yep.
And it hasn't seemed to phase them. It's just weird. I don't think people are saying they're bad. I don't think they're disrespecting them. But that there aren't more people saying, yeah, this team's legit. This team looks different. I mean, I can't tell you how many articles, to your point, I've read of why this year's different for the Leafs.
Yeah.
Why this year's Maple Leaf playoff run could be different. Nobody says that for the Avs.
If the Leafs, if Edmonton, if New York, if Boston, if any of the California teams had 55 wins and were pushing for 60, do you think anybody would be saying, those teams just aren't that exciting?
Right. And that is my point. Nobody is saying they aren't good, but it's just so weird given the type of run they've been on that there is just such like a lukewarm mentality towards their like chances. And I know a lot of people pick them. I know they're the favorites, stuff like that, as far as odds makers. And I think they're the team this year that, like I said, everyone is trying to be like, oh, well, I knew they were going to get bounced, but also have that out of, well, they won 60 games. Of course, we shouldn't be surprised that they knocked out, the LA Kings in round one.
Sure.
Even though I said that the Kings had a chance here. Like, it's just been a really interesting narrative to watch unfold over the last month, 2 months.
It is, and I do wonder how much history has affected that. People brought up the year Tampa was insanely good. They get bumped in the first round, and does that kind of cloud people's thoughts about teams that are that good in the regular season a little bit? Granted, now Tampa's won 2 cups in a row, and so I think there's a little bit of cherry picking going on there for sure.
Well, and I mean you sit there and I think it's mostly because what was the last team that we saw like truly dominate the regular season and go on to win? Like maybe some of those early 2000s Avs and Red Wings teams.
Yeah.
And so I guess
New Jersey at that time too.
Yep. And so again, okay, I guess, but it's just weird. This team to me really does have so many differences between it and last year's Avs team.
Yep.
Yet at the national level, it's like, no, they're the same group as they are last year. Still got question marks. We'll see. I think someone can knock them off. And I don't know, man. I was talking earlier this week with someone. All things equal, every team is at 100%. I just don't know if there is a better team.
I don't think
than the Avs.
All of this preface with, of course, this is on paper.
Right.
You go play 7 games and stuff
Anything
happens. But I agree. I think the Avs are the best team in the league.
And the only thing that you can do in hockey to predict is use, a recent sample run and say, okay, based on this behavior, we expect this. This Avs team is much different than last year's Avs team in terms of personnel, play style, all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
And this year we have shown that we have seen that they can play different styles of game. They can come from behind. They can get out ahead and lock it down. Everything says this team should be successful in the postseason against anybody they play. To your point, they have to go out there and do it. But a lot of people just seem to be kind of writing off everything they're doing because they have to win a second round before anybody, I guess give them the credit. Yeah. But
is what it is, and
that's it is what it is. Like
it doesn't really matter. It's just interesting to see the way. And to be clear, this is mostly we're talking about national media.
Yeah.
If you go look at an LA Kings podcast, obviously they're going to be like, well, LA's got a shot.
Yeah. And that's just the other thing too. Like, it's just interesting. I had a bunch of people today like, don't even listen to them. I don't know why you read that. They don't know. And it's like, again, it's just interesting. It's already been written. Yep. Why wouldn't I at least consume it? I'm not saying I have to believe it or it makes anything true more or less.
I mean, it's part of the hockey sphere, right? When national media people are tweeting stuff like that to hundreds of thousands of followers, it's gonna be something that gets talked about.
Right.
So
it's just it's just interesting.
it is interesting. I'm not saying it's even bad necessarily.
Right? Yeah. You there's a lot of people that were like, good. I like that nobody's whatever. It's like, sure, yeah. Even say it's good. It is still just interesting.
Yep. That's all. There's no vendettas or anything that. Do want to talk about the rest of the Avs season a little bit, and more specifically, you're the Colorado Avalanche. You have 6 games left. You are tied with the Florida Panthers for the President's Trophy right now.
Okay.
What are the Avs' goals through the rest of this season? We've talked before. I'm sure they want to win the President's Trophy, but it's not really a priority.
Yep.
Priority 1 is nobody get hurt.
Yes.
What comes after that?
I really do. I think it's nobody get hurt. And they keep talking about, we are trying to focus on the details of our game. We want to feel as close to perfect as we can when the playoffs start. So I really do. I just think it's emphasis on process. I don't think they really, to your point, it's nice to win the President's Trophy, sure. I don't really think they are all that concerned with results the last 5-6 games here. They are concerned with our process. How do we look? How are we progressing through our power play? How are our breakouts? How are our zone entries? When you get into, it's kind of like a classic adage, right? You get into these playoffs deep, second, third round. You're in a double overtime. You're exhausted. When you are running on autopilot, are you making the right decisions? Are you making the right plays? Are you putting the puck where you need to put it just instinctually? And I think that's what they are focusing on. To your point, they're running them through all kinds of different line combinations. D pairings have been all over the place. Forward lines have been all over the place. I do just think it's bring it every single night, every single shift, regardless of who you're playing with, and just can we continue to get consistency regardless of what our combinations are. This Avs core, the Jared Bednar era Avs, have seen everything in the playoffs. They've been heavy underdogs. They've been underdogs on paper, but probably the better team. They've been in Game 7s. They've had bad injury problems. They went through the bubble thing. They have seen everything, and I think they are focusing on, we don't want anything to catch us off guard in the playoffs. Nothing is going to take us by surprise. When we get into the playoffs, our combinations are going to be solid, and our process, we are going to know what we're doing and where everyone's supposed to be. Don't think they really care about the results.
I really love that you bring up the process combined with the fact that they're switching everybody up. Because you play with certain players enough that you kind of get to know their tendencies and you know what they do. But when you're playing with guys where they just threw you out there with 2 other dudes, you have to lead on the process. You have to be where they expect you to be. Otherwise, problems are going to crop up really, really quickly. The other side of that is, I agree, I don't think they're going to be too worried about results. But should the Avs be treating these last handful of games down the stretch like playoff games? Should they have that atmosphere around them? Or is this more of a less playoff and more practice things focus?
So what's funny is I actually think it'll be kind of game contingent.
Okay.
I think tonight is going to be a total snoozer.
Shoot around time.
Because tonight is one of those games where I don't want to say you treat it like practice because this is an NHL game. Both teams are going out there to win. But it is what we were talking about of crisp passes, being in the right area. Nazem Kadri's back. Helping him get his timing back. Putting the top power play unit back together and getting the puck snapping around again. Games like tonight, that's what they're going to do. Game like Minnesota, you're probably going to want to ramp up your intensity a little bit. Now, again, that's the last game of the season. Who knows how many regulars will be sitting. But let's just say, the
Nashville game before that.
Nashville game, St. Louis, Edmonton, maybe, where, you want to get some good pace. You want to get a little bit of, physicality in there, feel the boards a bit. But the game against Winnipeg tonight,
teams that have nothing to play for.
Right. It's just just kind of let that one
get through it, focus on process, right. On to the next one.
Clean it up so that it's easier when you're going into these other buildings, and it's like, we feel good about where we're at.
Nothing too complicated
Right.
on that front, for sure.
And stay healthy
Yeah,
above
that's
all
rule
else.
number one. Yeah. If you're feeling anything, just say, hey, I'm not going in the boards hard with this or that or the other thing.
And then, wait till you can get reinforcements and get a night off.
Yep. All right. Blaze not on the show, but he did send us some bets. Let's see what he has for us tonight. Can I guess them before I even look? He's taking Colorado on the money line with the over. That's par for the course against Seattle, especially. I think you got to like the over. Mikko, anytime goal scorer, surprisingly low, and he's going to get that bet refunded because Mikko is not playing.
Yep.
So off to a great start there.
Not going great.
Also has Grubauer over 27.5 saves. Avs, if they show up and actually try, getting 30-plus shots on goal is pretty easy for this hockey team.
The only thing you got to worry about with that one is that Grubauer lasts that long.
If he gets 5 dropped on his head real quick, he might be out of the game for sure.
Yeah.
Colorado, once again, entering a phase of the season where it's hard to find positive money on this hockey team. So you do have to get a little bit creative at times there.
That's what I'm doing right now.
Oh, boy. What's he finding?
Well, I actually just liked his Avs money line and over.
Jumping on that bet.
Yeah,
there you go.
I like that one.
Of course, if you're unsure, Kale Point, Toews Point. Well, Toews not playing, so Kale Point, the freest bet on DraftKings, as
Always
we say.
a good one. Yep.
So you might as well bet the house on
Always
that one.
free money.
Mikko is out for non-COVID illness, which means he needed a day off, basically.
Yeah. Yep. Not feeling. He's feeling 98%. And he's like,
And the Avs are like, all right, just take the day off. It's fine. See you tomorrow.
Yeah. No one cares.
So either way, Avs not anywhere near full strength. They're still heavily favored against a team like Seattle. You expect them to win, but at least from our standpoint, I don't care about the result of this hockey game. If the Avs play well, if they're doing good things, if they're moving in the right direction when it comes to, oh, hey, this thing worked that they can use in the playoffs. Oh, our systems were solid in this area of the game. You're good.
Perfect.
You're happy with this game. So we're about 10 minutes from puck drop here. We're going to go ahead and get out of here. We will be back post-game, of course, to break it all down, so be sure to tune in to that. Until then, enjoy the game.